Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining from either place, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to go through them all as I go through the forecast. But if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at what we're tracking out for the next couple of days. And it is going to be a roller coaster ride of temperatures. We started out today in the 70s and we've already cooled all the way down into the 40s and we're headed into the 30s overnight tonight. That's all thanks to that strong cold front we had moved through earlier this afternoon. And then for the next couple of days, we will stay dry, sunny, with temperatures warming back up into the 60s here Friday and into Saturday. And then we've got warmer temperatures there on Sunday with another strong front expected to move through. That'll kick up another chance for a few more storms, and then we're going to cool down again, down below freezing possibly, and we even have the potential to see a few snowflakes on the backside of that system for Sunday. So March is doing its thing here through the middle of the month, and it is quite a weather whiplash for the next couple of days. So let's take a look at what's going on out there across the country right now. We had that front move through earlier this afternoon, and before that front even moved in, we had that warm front lift to our north, and that's what brought us a couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms this morning. That a few of them were actually severe thunderstorms, so many of us maybe woke up to the sound of sirens out there. Thankfully, we didn't see any tornado warnings or any tornadoes. We did get some wind damage out there because of those thunderstorms, and outside of those thunderstorms, it's been a very windy day. We had that wind advisory in effect this afternoon as well. We saw some tree limbs kind of get damaged and break in some places, like up towards Pike County and even into areas like Spencer County, northern Vandenberg County. We had some tree damage, but outside of that, we didn't see much outside of those severe thunderstorm warnings for this morning. So let's take a look at the loop over the last 18 hours. And we can get a good look at those storms that moved through earlier this morning. We had a batch of showers and thunderstorms lift up from the south. Those are where they got the severe thunderstorm warnings, but thankfully we stayed cloudy enough through the afternoon to where the atmosphere kind of wasn't able to recharge as much. We caught another warning there through Wayne, Webb, Edwards, and Wabash County earlier in the afternoon, but the rest of the tri-state, we just saw some gusty showers along that leading edge of the cold front. So we kind of escaped round two unscathed there, but now we're looking at temperatures cooling down significantly. So we started out the day, our highs were actually earlier in the day, as many of you would imagine, topping out in the mid 70s, and looking at how that departs from what is normal, we were still running around 20 degrees above average here in the Evansville area, but over just 1 hour, that cold front moved in between the hour of 2 and 3 p.m. here in the Evansville area. We were up in the 70s, 74 degrees. It was actually taking place during our 2:30 stream. Me and Arden were on here looking at our temperatures. We were tracking out that front in southern Illinois. It had already dropped temps in the 40s in places like Fairfield, but we were sitting at around 74 at the start of that stream. And by the end of the stream, at around 3 o'clock, we saw temperatures dropping by around 12 degrees. So from 74 to 52 in just 1 hour. And then we've been hanging out in the 40s here for the last couple of hours headed into this evening, and we'll get even colder headed into tonight. Very, very stark difference from yesterday, where we were only 1 degree away from our high. We topped out at around 81 degrees. Our record was 82. So definitely a huge cold front moving in here earlier this afternoon, and we're sitting in the lower 40s with mostly cloudy skies across the tri-state. 43 in Evansville and Owensboro, 42 there in Huntingburg and Fairfield, warm spot on the map, 45 there in Madisonville. And looking at the next 12 hours, temperatures will continue to drop down into the lower 30s overnight, with gradually decreasing cloud cover headed into very early tomorrow morning. So by the time the sun rises, the clouds will be clear, but we may hold on to some partly cloudy skies between 4 and 6 a.m. But outside of the sunshine, it is a lot cooler out there. It's actually closer to average for this time of year, hanging out in the low to mid 50s in a few locations. 52 degrees here in the Evansville area for tomorrow, and a little bit less windy as well. with winds out of the northwest between 4 to 8 miles per hour. And looking ahead here at the weekend forecast, it should remain fairly tranquil through Friday and Saturday. A mix of clouds and sun here for both Friday and Saturday, and then temperatures will be hanging out in the lower 60s for the first half of the weekend before we climb all the way up to around 70 there for Sunday. But that's going to be out ahead of our next cold front that may even trigger the chance for a couple of more thunderstorms. At this point in time, a little bit too early to tell if we have any severe weather threats headed our way, but I wouldn't be surprised because we're going to be seeing temperatures dropping significantly. Anytime you go from 70s to 30s, it's hard to not have any kind of severe weather happening in between there. So we'll be keeping a close eye on it here over the next couple of days. But let's track it out on our longer range European model. So here we are Sunday. This is Sunday morning. We'll wake up to some cloud cover, that warm front lifting well to our north, so warm, moist air streaming out ahead of that front moving in for Saturday evening. Now, one thing I am noticing here is that at least on this model, it wants to put a lot of that precipitation behind the actual front. So that doesn't lead to much in the way of severe thunderstorm development. However, we may end up in one of those low cape, high shear situations, which could still produce at least some gusty winds as these showers pass on through. So we'll be watching it closely there, but this will swing through here Sunday evening and then continue there into the overnight hours. And with colder air slamming in behind this front, it is possible we see even a few flakes out of this. A few light snow showers can't be ruled out early Monday morning. So we go from 70s on Sunday to the 30s on Monday with potentially a few snowflakes. So it can't get more Midwest in March than the next couple of days. So here's a look at the temperature trend. Our average high sitting in the mid 50s. We'll still be below that tomorrow, but close to average. And then we'll hang out in the upper 50s to low 60s there for Friday and Saturday, 70 there by Sunday, and then dropping all the way down into the upper 20s by Sunday night into Monday morning. And then we'll bounce into the mid to upper 30s there for Monday afternoon, and then hang out in the 40s and gradually warm up into the 50s there by Tuesday. But it looks like the coldest temperatures we'll see will be Monday night into Tuesday morning. Many locations may be waking up to temperatures in the upper teens to around 20 degrees. So hopefully you didn't throw away your winter jacket just yet. You're definitely going to have to dig it out the back of the closet here headed into the start of next week. But then we do start to warm back up by the middle of next week. So there's a look at our temperature outlook for the next 8 to 14 days there. You can see we'll remain above average for March 19th through March 25th. Much of the country expected to remain above average as well. And looking at our precip outlook, a little bit of a pattern change. So, we've had a very, very wet March so far. That first week, we had measurable rainfall almost every single day. So it looks like we'll be kind of drying out here through the middle of the month. So that's good news. I'm sure a lot of us are sick of the rain, and that rain mostly was beneficial, especially for all of the farmers out there. We had been stuck in quite a drought for the last couple of days. And actually, let me go ahead and dig out that drought monitor to see what the latest looks like on that before we even continue into the 7-day forecast. So it looks like it's still putting out some moderate to even severe drought in some locations, but this does update on Thursday. So we'll likely see a lot of this get alleviated there with all that rain we saw last week. So looking ahead here at our 7-day forecast, you'll see just kind of wrapping it up in a little bit of a bow. The main focus here is going to be the up and down in our temperatures. So again, we'll be a lot cooler tomorrow, but closer to average, hanging out in the low 50s, and then we'll pop back up into the upper 50s to lower 60s there for Friday and into Saturday. A mix of sun and clouds through the first half of the weekend, and then we've got that chance for a few more thunderstorms there Sunday night. That's going to be out ahead of that cold front, but we'll warm up to right around 70 degrees, dropping all the way into the upper 20s to around 30 Sunday night into Monday morning, and then hanging out in the upper 30s there on Monday with that chance for a few light snow showers. We're giving it a 20% chance right now, but we'll also be keeping an eye on that as well. But let me take a look at some of your comments here. Linny says good evening. Suzanne also saying good evening. Thank you for joining us. Cheyenne, good evening. Laura is watching from Dawson Springs. Thank you for joining us. Dale says hello. Hello to you too. Carolyn watching from Hopstadt. Thanks for keeping us on alert today. You are welcome. Yeah, thankfully that second round didn't have too much of an impact with us here. Again, we caught that warning in Wayne, Edwards, and Wabash County, but for the most part, it seemed like those storms that moved in the morning worked over the atmosphere enough, and then we saw cloud cover kind of squander that recharge we were expecting. So, we'll take what we can get. We didn't really enjoy those thunderstorms in that early wake-up call this morning, but at least we remained fairly unscathed here through the afternoon. But we did see some pretty strong wind gusts as well. Gust up to almost 50 miles per hour was recorded at the Evansville airport. So definitely a very windy day out of the southwest before that front came through. And it'll still be breezy here overnight tonight, but just not as gusty as it was earlier this afternoon. But that is all the questions that I'm seeing, so I'm going to hop off the live stream now. I'll send you guys on over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe and have a great rest of your night, and stay warm.